Hello. It's the end of the first. Well, it's not the end of the first week, but I still think like I'm still working. Friday is the end of the week, when Saturday is actually and Sunday is the beginning of the next week. So it is the 5th, right? Yeah. Day before January 6th. Cheers, people. Because of racism and money and power, are we ever going to get a resolution to this mess in Washington? Probably not. So I'm checking in, folks, because as I lay to wake up to get up this morning, I thought to myself, well, what's on my agenda? What have I got? Because I do that, and really nothing. It's a Friday. There are no new releases of note. I see that there's a Yes's first album has been remastered and all that sort of thing. That's something that would likely show up here in Omaha in the record stores. You know, when I was showing all of those CDRs yesterday, and I heard from John. Nice to hear from you, John. It's like, man, I just wish I had a chance to get that stuff. I don't even get a chance. Excuse me. So good to hear from you, folks. I am glad to know that this little thing that I do by choice has apparently a general positive effect for people. And so for that reason, I continue on the days where I don't really feel like I have much to say. Like, so when it comes to the records here, I keep thinking, well, let me go out in the other room and pull a pile of stuff that probably I've never shown because it's out of sight, out of mind. And then I go out there and I look and I just get, it's like a little overwhelmed. So I didn't do it today. And just ripping off the top of my head, I'm really happy about the David Nance album about to drop. Talked to him yesterday. I'm really happy that. So I have my test pressing of the album, and I did notice on one song, and David told me that after we finished the main sessions for the album, that he's still working on it. So I play bass on almost all the songs. I think there's one or two where they went in and did different versions than what we had recorded. But what I'm saying is on Brooklyn Vegan, they posted the album announcement in their news, and they got a mention along with the other musicians on the album, which I really appreciate. Now my my name was misspelled. I deleted a comment this morning where someone left my misspelled name. I think that's what that was about. I just deleted it. It's one of those things that you go through. Even some of the biggest people have gone through constantly getting their name misspelled. And but the fact that the band members were mentioned in print, that's the little thing. That's the little thing that some of us, I'll just speak for myself. It's one of the little gratifications that I want, seeing my name in print, seeing what I'm doing is garnering some attention. I like that. So David is jazzed. I'm looking to see if I can Oh no, that's not it. Back behind the speaker there are some of my test pressings, and I know that the David Nance test pressing is back there, but I didn't grab it because I covered some of those recently with more my collages. This is the test pressing for Future Still, my album Future Still, and FPE. With FPE, with that in mind, I will share that I actually have it on my schedule now. So if something happens this Saturday tomorrow, I'm gonna pitch a bitch. I'm gonna raise some hell. I have a scheduled session tomorrow to start official work on the Muse 2. Okay. And I got the horn players on the schedule. Agreed. They better show up because I'm going to pursue the Muse 2 being released on vinyl. As I just showed here, the test pressing for Future Still, I already know that FPE has interest in the next thing that I do that I don't release myself. They're interested and to potentially do another album with me. So that's on my agenda. Okay, that's what I want to work on. I'm like I said, I'm just ripping. I don't write down a list of what to talk about. My conversations with David Nance yesterday were several and very happy and excited. I'm very happy for that young man. I really am. And we recorded that damned album almost 4 years ago. It was either 2020 or 2021 because of COVID. It happened in the middle of COVID. Now finally it's happening. Can't wait to see the actual record, to get a copy. We're supposed to start rehearsal Monday for the record release show. Okay, so just some stuff laying around because I'm gonna look here. I moved some stuff around here. I got tired, and I'm just resorting to what I have to do again, which is putting some stuff in the closet. I'm just out of room, and so I have to yes, I have to think about that in regards to the space I have and collecting. I'm out of room, so I need to reduce somehow. So I'm looking at that, looking at trying to do that this year as the year goes. This is sitting out. I think I showed it the other day. Maybe I didn't. I forget where I got this. It's called A Complete Guide to the Beatles' Music, and it does run down all their albums. Fairly generic information that is, well known. It's kind of cool that it's in a booklet like this. It was in my file cabinet when I was looking for some information for my sister Stephanie that she needed for a job application or some kind of shit. I'm in there looking for old letters from my grandmother to find her address, and I came across this, plus some other ephemera. I have a lot of junk that it's just, I was thinking about that, If I liquidated the record collection and just got money, that is something I could do. But the records are just going to sit somewhere else. They may as well just sit here. At least they'll get played and shared. So here's something that I bought at Grapefruit last year. It's a reissue, but it's one of those rarities where, I just didn't think I'd ever see this. Played part of this yesterday because I, again, worked a lot. Yarandu by Rob Tomsit. I think this is out of Australia. This is 2 albums put together. The one that you see on the front is very collectible. Yarandu. It's kind of fusiony. And let me see if I can get a real quick on what's the quick place to go for a little bit of information is obviously Discogs. Rob Thompson, Australian multi-instrumentalist. Let's see what an original of Yarandu goes for, because it's rare. Yeah, I see that the median price on this on Discogs is $500, and there are none for sale except for the reissue. And the reissue is no big deal. It's just, reissue, But this is actually pretty cool and kind of mystical. It's like they didn't have, now and again, do a great job. They do with the booklets and all the stuff. They really go to town on these. But this is neat because it's like the music is beyond their incomes, obviously. It's like, man, this really could have deserved a really good production, good writing and playing, imaginative. So that's really what I like about this. I said fusion, but it doesn't sound like Chick Corea or John McLaughlin or any of those guys. It's really good. I celebrated by posting stuff online yesterday. Yesterday was John McLaughlin's 83rd birthday, I think. So happy birthday, John McLaughlin. He is one of my favorite guitarists. I didn't play any John McLaughlin yesterday. And I didn't really play any records. Here's a record that probably will get traded out. I was talking about George Coleman recently. Great player, but this is not a good album of his. It's got good players on it, but the material is just Autumn in New York. It's just kind of so-so. It's kind of like dinner time jazz as opposed to really being very interesting. As I listened to it the other day, I said to myself, this is not very engaging. I have a better album by him. This one will probably go to Grapefruit as a trade. That reminds me. So the other thing that I did yesterday, besides on and off in the studio, yes, bear with me, folks. The thing that I'm working on in the studio mainly right now is teaching myself about further about engineering and mastering. So yesterday I was experimenting with limiting, and that actually took up quite a bit of time throughout the day.
Idea of why the picture.
But the other thing that I watched yesterday was a almost 3-hour documentary called A Great Day in Harlem. And it's about this photograph of some of the greatest American jazz musicians all assembled in one place for a photograph in Harlem. And besides the documentary nature of it and that information, it was a trip back because I don't listen to a lot of the jazz that I grew up with of my parents. That's how it is. So, for example, when they would, it's really good. I'll leave the link if I remember. A Great Day in Harlem is the name of it. 2 parts. But they talked to some of the surviving people like Art Blakey and Buck Clayton, I think, is another one. My uncle Johnny Griffin. But hearing the music as they go through, it's like some of it hit me. Oh, because I don't listen to it. But Lester Young and Roy Eldridge are 2 musicians I heard a lot as a child. when I heard that, I said, "Oh, that's that horn player I was always hearing." I would, I was a kid. Looking back, I was thinking that was the Illinois Jacquette, but it's actually Lester Young that my dad was enamored with, besides Coltrane and Miles Davis. And Johnny Griffin, let's see, in this thing, they talk about the different musicians. My dad was part of that scene, but he was just a minor player, but he was a player. He was a friend of mine, and he grew up with Johnny Griffin. So Prez, Coleman Hawkins, I think that's the right name. Before they started calling him that, they called him Red, I think. But then they started calling him Prez. If I get this straight. But there's a few different people called Red on the scene. And there's one time in the documentary, where the documentary maker is pointing out how, as she would show people the picture, their memories were kind of blurry. And people say, "That's so and so," and then it says, "No, that's so and so. That's so and so." And at one point, Johnny's doing that and messing up and not. And he says, "Is that Red?" And I thought to myself, "Is he mentioning my dad? It could have been the other Red, but it could have been my dad." My dad was part of the Chicago scene. My dad is in some books about jazz, just a mention, but see, that's kind of like what I'm talking about for me and getting in reviews and stuff. It's just a personal thing where you want to be remembered. You say, "There, I was there." Proof. It's the proof. I hate it when I start a video with a half a cup of coffee, because before the video's over, it's like I'm wanting more coffee. So the Burns, I have several boxes, but what I'm going to do right now is I'm not going to show more Burns. I'm going to show another part of my CD collection that's right here. Oh, good God Almighty! I've got so much stuff. Some of you folks do too. That's another thing. I watched a video where there was a young man who visited this guy in England who has a huge collection, thousands and thousands of records, and the rare stuff. Reminded me of me. So in this box, what we have is a bunch of promo singles, CD singles, and the like. Back in the day, just a second, this can be two parts. Part two, I went and got some coffee and did a restroom break. Let's keep going. So in this box I just pulled up, it has a lot of promo singles, and like, for example, so I don't know how much the record stores get promos anymore, because they used to give them to me, and I'll ask for them, and they say, "Well, we don't have nothing." But I have a bunch of these. I do. I have a bunch of these Blue Note promo albums, whole albums on the Blue Note label, in these generic promo sleeves. So this is Lonnie Plaxico. Got a bunch of this stuff, folks. I've got boxes. I've got stuff that people have sent me too over the years. So, like, for example, here's something that I got from Roger Coleman, who probably doesn't make videos anymore. Kind of lost touch with him. I have one of his albums, Piano Player. But he sent this to me. I still don't remember what this is like. Pineapple Explode. A Bushel and a Barrel. This has been one of the fun things about being on the internet and doing this, is getting access to material like this that I would probably never hear otherwise. Some good and some not so good. Here, from the Sub Pop label, promos. Pigeon Head. Here's one of those. I bet a bunch of you guys have these, like me. This is from from Polygram, the Polygram label group. PLG, even better than the real thing. So, is U2 on here? Doesn't look like. Yep, sure are. U2 starts it off, and then Emerson, Lake and Palmer are on here. L.A. Guns, Melissa Etheridge. I've got a bunch of these. Well, shit, I actually have an overrun of Burns. These are bootleg recordings that I put on CD of Porcupine Tree that were in there. This gets so much shit, people. And here's a sampler that I made of different stuff. Now, as well as the promos, there's these CD singles of different stuff that I bought over the years. A lot of stuff on sale just because, well, it's only $1 or it's maybe 50 cents. Let me see what it's like. Here's one, Peach Union. Don't remember what it's like. I think this is kind of like Portishead, if I remember correctly. I have a lot of single CDs that are like this, just like they're like cards, like mini albums. This is Penguin Cafe Orchestra, Union Cafe. This is some good stuff. Penguin Cafe Orchestra is good. Good stuff with all the Papa Mantras. You can, and then again, it's also again like looking at history. You look at this different stuff, and it reminds you of the time period. Here's a Project Records sampler. I think my friend Forrest Fang is. Yep, Forrest Fang is on here. And then there's a Robert Fripp piece on here. Feynman and Fripp. Okay. Robert Pollard. People ask me about Guided by Voices. I have Guided by Voices. They have a lot of stuff, and it's like they're good, but it's like it never really hit me hard. Some people's material really connects. Robert Pollard is good, but I can take or leave him. Some of that electro techno stuff back from the 2000s or the late 90s. Platypus. This is from a VC member. Can't think of his name. Big jazz collector. But this is his name in here? And it's in a kind of a weird, I can just barely read. Anders Allen. Phono. The band Placebo. Got that. I wanted to see if I could spot, and that's just how it always is. You want to see if you can spot stuff, and you can't. Let me see if I can spot. So I have this sampler, and it's not turning up. But things get out of order very easily. We were talking about, here it is, yeah. So we were talking about Les McCann. I'm pretty sure it's on here. Yeah, I thought so. So here's a sampler from Atlantic Records. I forget what year this is. A sampler where they're reissuing jazz. This is a 1993. This takes me back. This is back in the heyday of when my younger brother Patrick was working at a record distributorship. And this is before he realized he could get money from these. And he would just give them to me. So this is a promo from that particular campaign of jazz reissues. Look at those names. And compared to what is on here by, the live version. These are kind of cool. It's a way of accessing the music immediately without having to buy, whole records. But I mean, this has got, besides compared to what, it's got Coming Home Baby by Herbie Mann, Ramblin' by Ornette Coleman, Mose Allison is on here. My Favorite Things by John Coltrane. It's a great sampler. It's a great listen. Another shout out to another VC member who I don't know if he watches anymore or makes videos. I know he's a very busy musician. Alpha Stare. We've collaborated. There's some stuff on his page where he and I collaborated. I'm on a couple of his releases, but here's a physical release of his that he sent to me. Cheers to you, my friend. If you happen to see this, good man. He kept insisting that we stay in touch. No offense to Alpestar, this is just the way I am. I just keep on moving. I'm not the sort of person who's always staying in touch. I never have been. Atari Teenage Riot. You guys remember them? When I saw them with the Roots and Beck was sad. The Roots blew me away, and Atari Teenage Riot were memorable that night. When I saw Beck live, I thought it was a joke. He started doing that falsetto fake Prince shit, and I said, what? What is this? Here's another one from the past that I keep, but I hardly ever play anymore. Badly Drawn Boy, remember him? Disillusion. Remember when they would do get the more bang out of your buck? You have to buy CD1 and CD2 to get the whole package. Here's another Bug Juice enhanced CD. Remember enhanced CDs? So this has something on it by Dinosaur Jr. And the other people in here are Stereophonics. Robert Bradley's Blackwater Surprise, Death in Vegas. I said I got a ton of these. I got a bunch of these too. Astroworks samplers. I need to cover this. This is getting damaged. This is from Bob Bucko Jr. Arc Numbers. So much stuff. So much stuff. Network label that brought us some of that good industrial stuff. Another Astroworks. Amorphous. I have this. This is a good album, but it's a promo single from Relapse Records. Good record, good band. Ardent sampler with Alex Chilton on it. But as I'm saying, I know that this is, if I've got a bunch of this stuff, I know that many of you probably do too. Just as interesting, maybe even more interesting or obscure. It's fun. It's fun. And I have definitely found a lot of music for my collection through getting those samplers from labels. So that's what I have for you today. 2 parts. I'm going to put them together on one. So it takes a long time for it to render. So it'll be up here eventually. Have a good weekend if I don't come in. Pardon my unshaven self. Speak to me. Let me know what's going on.